Morning everyone, welcome to my workshop for a new video for my channel. Last time I did one of these face-to-face videos was around about 5 years ago. I did a review of the Tamiya Spitfire Mark 1 when that came out, and I can't believe that it's been 5 years since that video was created. It is extraordinary how time's flown by. It really has just zipped past. To think that I was only just 50 at that point, and now I feel like I'm rolling closer to 60. It's hard to believe that time is going so quickly. So I thought that rather than just sort of sit around doing nothing with this channel, I would add something new for you to have a look at. Maybe take a look at another older kit. I've looked at a few newer products over the last couple of weeks. Done a few unboxing videos, including the 3D printed Fairy Type 75, which I hope you've taken a look at. So I thought I'd have a look at something else, and hopefully you'll find this interesting, despite the age of the kit. Most of you will know that ICM are about to release a 48 scale B-26 Marauder, and it's due to hit the model shop shelves, I think, within the next month or so. Certainly shops are advertising it at the moment and taking pre-orders for it, and ICM's social media accounts have kind of gone into overdrive with photographs of the box art and a poster that goes with it, showing all the parts and all of that sort of thing. I think there's even been some bits and pieces showing the instructions, which have been fantastic. It looks amazing, as you might expect from ICM. I built a few ICM kits over the years, and every time I built one, it just seems to get better. The last one was the OV10 Bronco, which was almost my kit of the year when it was released. I think it was only surpassed by the Picara that came out from Kinetic that year, or at the end of that year. I think it was those two going head to head. So I'm really excited to see this new ICM kit. I'm certainly going to build one when it comes out. It's going to be sort of rostered in and scheduled in for me, so that'll be brilliant. Oh, I said it was sunny earlier on. It's now chucking it down with rain out there, which is fantastic. So I thought what I'd do today is, with ICM's kit coming out, that I take a look at an older kit that many of you will have seen and thousands will have built over the years, but just to sort of see how this kit looks and whether or not it's still worth building. And that is this one. This is Monogram'S B-26 Marauder, a really famous kit. Like I say, thousands of people have built these. They've kind of been everywhere. If you look online, there's lots of projects. Even today, this is a really detailed kit, and when it's complete, it does look really superb, I think. It is also notoriously difficult to build. It's kind of typical of a lot of Monogram'S kits, in that certain areas are fine, certain areas touch where they fit, or rather fit where they touch. And it requires a degree of modelling skill, shall we say, to get the best from it. But I think if you do get the best from it, it still holds up, and it's a classic worth building. I have an affinity for these old Monogram kits. As anybody that's followed me over the last 3 or 4 years, I built all of the Century Series jets, and I've got them behind me on the shelves up there. There's a whole collection of Monogram kits, so I've become slightly addicted to them over the years. And part of that is that I didn't really build them when I was a kid. I wasn't able to get them. We couldn't really get them here that much. So I only started to build them later in life, and also only started to build them when I had the skills to be able to get the best from them, because, as I say, they are difficult to build in many cases. Some are easy, some are fine, but many of them, including this Marauder, can be real pigs. So maybe not for the absolute beginner, or not somebody who's a complete masochist. I think that may be the thing. You know, that's why a lot of people are excited about ICM's kit coming out, because when it does come out, they won't have to wrestle with it in the same way that you would have to wrestle with this thing. I plan to build both. I plan to have a go at the ICM kit and have that as my kind of, I guess, detailed modern version of the aircraft. But I'm still going to have a go at this because it fits in with my Monogram program of builds. I've done all the Sentry jets, and now I'm thinking of doing all of the bombers as well. So B-17, 24, 25, 26, and B-29 as well at some point. Though that will be a complete collection that I hope to get finished. No, I'm not going to do the B-36. I'm not really interested in that, and it doesn't fit in scale-wise or period-wise with the other models. So I'm not going to do that. But I will do all of these. So with that in mind, I think we'll just sort of take a look at it. Before I start, I appreciate that this is a really old kit, and I appreciate that many of you have seen it and everything. I haven't even looked inside this box. This model was gifted to me by a friend of mine who was clearing out his parents' house, and he had a load of old kits still there, and he gifted me this kit. I've not looked at it really. I put some decals inside it, but other than that, I haven't really looked at it. So I just thought we could sort of have a leisurely look inside the box, see what it offers, see how it looks, how it stands up, and for those that maybe would like to have a crack at one of these, whether you've got one of these in the loft, or whether you've got one just lying around randomly in some dusty garage somewhere, then it might be a useful thing. It's an unashamedly retro look at a very old kit. So let's just have a bit of fun with it. That's all it is. It's nothing more serious than that. So let's take a look, shall we? So here we have Monogram's B-26 Marauder. As you can see, this is I think this is the initial release of this kit. It's in the original box before they started using coloured artwork for these kits. So this is the original, I guess 1977, 78. I think Scalemates say this kit was released in 78. I've seen other modelers say that it was released in 77. Either way, that's sort of about the period that it was released, and I think this is the original as it came out back then. So you can see that the model's been built on the box top. Quite a nice build actually for back then. Shows off everything, shows off the model, shows off one of the figures that comes in the kit. So opening the box up, we can see the decals that I've sort of squirreled away for one of these kits. I'm not entirely sure that this is appropriate to this particular version. I'm hoping it is. It says on here, if you look on here, it says that it's for the Monogram B-26 Marauder, and I know that they didn't release more than one version of it, so I'm going to assume that Aeromaster had done their research, and that the two versions in here, the olive drab over the neutral grey, and also the natural metal version, this is quite a famous version, this one here, that these are correct. I've had these, I don't know when these decals arrived in my collection. I think I've had these for some time. These decals were released in 2001, according to this. If I can sort of, you can see on there, it says copyright 2001. So that's quite an old sheet to have had lying around. It's by some degree not the oldest set of decals I've got kicking around though. So I'm not sure which of these versions I'd like to do. Quite like the natural metal one, but I don't know. I think an olive drab one might be good. So, and one of the reasons why it's kind of useful to have these is because these are the decals from the kit that I have. You can see them here. These are completely broken up. These have been lying in the box for some time, so they're just completely unusable. Also, I don't know whether or not these colours are washed out because of age, or whether they're just generally washed out, but they look very pale and very light. I'm not sure that there should be two shades of blue in here, but you can see that there's a lighter blue around the star, and then the circumference of the rest of the marking is a darker blue. The kit offers decals for flak bait, which I guess is the most famous of all B-26 Marauders. It's the one that's currently being restored, and hopefully will go on display in the States at some point. So I think that was a fairly obvious choice from Monogram. But you can sort of see what they were aiming for. If the decals had been okay, these were nicely printed, I have to say. They're certainly a lot better than decals I've seen in other kits from that vintage. uppermost in my mind at this point being Hella, which were almost universally terrible, and actually kind of still are, really. So anyway, moving swiftly on. So, set of instructions here. These are fairly typical of Monogram's instructions, all on one big sheet, as you can see here. I liked Monogram's instructions. I thought they were kind of nicely drawn out. If I can find the first step, that would be very, very useful. Where on earth is it? Here, I think. Here we go. So, what I liked about Monogram's instructions, you can kind of see them here, that they were really well drawn out and actually relatively sensible in terms of approach when it came to the construction. But also there's lots of interesting written text that goes with it that shows colours and also describes the parts and that kind of thing. So rather than it just being a series of drawings with symbols on that we're used to these days, there's a little bit more information on there. So nice set of instructions. I think those will help. Reading through some of the information on this, the instructions show that all areas of the interior of the aircraft were, I think it says dark green, yeah, inside dark green, and then shows the bomb bay area as being silver. But I think that the reading up on this aircraft over the last couple of days, the insides of these machines that were built by Martin were a kind of a mixture of colours. They had neutral grey inside, they had dark green, black, aluminium, that kind of thing. So they weren't just one colour overall with small areas of another colour. They were quite different. So that'll be an interesting thing when it comes to putting this together. A lot of the interior of this model won't be seen once it's completed anyway. There's not a lot of open hatches, so I'm not going to worry too much about that, but I do want to try and sort of wring out as much detail as I can on this. As you can kind of see, I'll show you the instructions. They do include a full bomb bay as part of the kit, but not a full engine bay. The engines, if you see here, and we'll see the parts in a minute, you can see here, the engines here are only shallow relief. When you see them through the opening in the cowling, there's only sort of one row of one bank of cylinders on the radial engines. So it's a case of painting that up and getting the best from it, I think, rather than worrying too much about the detail. Because of the ICM kit, because there's going to be so much in that, this kit will be just built from the box. I don't intend to do anything more than try and create something that looks neat and tidy rather than doing anything more advanced than that. It doesn't seem sensible to me to spend a lot of time detailing a kit that's essentially 40 years old when I've got another kit that's much better that's going to be to hand. So sort of moving through the box, you can see we've got all the glazing here. These are remarkably clear for parts that were moulded so long ago. They're really well defined as well. How these fit is another thing. I'm pretty sure that I read that the nose cone here, this is quite a poor fit, so that'll need some work. Also, the glazing that goes over the rear gunner station as well, this one here, that's a similar kind of problem area, so have to see how that goes. But in terms of clarity, these are really beautiful. I've seen clear parts in more modern kits that aren't as clear as these, that are certainly not as well molded as these. So I think they'll look really good when they're on model. Moving on, you can see just from looking inside the box, this is not like a 21st century Uber kit. There aren't a lot of parts in here. I think I read somewhere that there's not much over 100, maybe not even 100, 95 parts somewhere. I don't know if it says it on the box. Does it say it on the box? No, it doesn't. But I'm pretty sure that it's only around that area. But you can see that it's a pretty big model, pretty big aeroplane. I saw a photograph of one of these parked next to a B-17, and it can certainly hold its own in size and dimensions. You can see this one's moulded in almost the universal olive drab that a lot of the Monogram bombers were moulded in. This one, also I've got a B-24 that's moulded in the same colour as this. B-17 I think is moulded in silver. But you can see the simplicity of their approach to this. Tailplanes here, these are full span tailplanes that slot into here. They're just upper and lower surfaces. The same with the wings there, so you get lower sections like this and then upper sections. There are no separate control surfaces. If you want to have control surfaces that are deflected, you're going to have to do the work and deal with those. Again, I'm not going to do anything about those. I'm going to try and keep it as it is and just see how I can sort of bring out the detail as best as I can just from the box. Here you can see that Monogram included some crew figures, but also a standing figure here. This is the chap that's on the box. He's slightly destroyed by an enormous sink mark that's taken out half of his chest. So if I was to use that figure, he's going to need to be dealt with. I think that'll be easy to sculpt in there. That's fine. Full bomb load as well, so that's good. Those are the engines that I mentioned earlier on. You can see that they're only shallow relief. You can see that there's only one bank of cylinders there, and they'll fit through the. You'll see them through the opening there in the cowling. Not much else can be seen once the propeller is on. So pay your money, take your choice. I know that there are replacement cowlings for this kit and replacement engines as well. Again, you can, if you want to do that, you can replace those parts. I don't really want to do that. I don't want to spend more than the kit is worth on a set of engine nacelles when, like I say, I'm going to be replacing, I'm going to be sort of building rather than replacing. I'm going to be building another model that's much more detailed than this one, with all the scribed lines on and that kind of thing. I want this to be a retro build. I want to have fun with it. And I think that even despite its age, there's enough detail in this kit to bring out and to make this kit look pretty good once it's done. The shape of it is just so cool though. That's what I really like about it. So there you can see, I mean, we're so used to these days having huge numbers of parts for internals, cockpit and that kind of thing, and here you've essentially got a floor, single part for the control yokes, columns, single part for the instrument panel, and then you've got the seats, and that's pretty much your interior. There's hardly anything inside that. There's a bulkhead that goes behind it. There's not much that can be seen behind that cockpit wall. So there's not a lot of point, I don't think, putting any further detail in there. And also, because this is a notorious tail sitter, there's going to need to be a huge amount of weight put in this. I'm sort of used to that now because I've just finished the Airfix Gannet, and that needed 65 grams of weight to keep it on its wheels. I'm imagining that this thing is going to need somewhere similar in terms of weight, and the only place that's going to be able to go is in here. I guess this is a radio operator's station here just in front of the bomb bay, so that's where any weight can go. I'm wondering how best to do that, blocking it off and then putting fishing weights or tyre balancing weights inside there. I think that might be an interesting way of going about that. So yeah, there isn't a huge amount to it. I'd say that this kit will be a quick build, but I think that that's likely to bite me at some point, because I know that there are certain areas on this kit, including the engine nacelles, and the way that they fit underneath the wing. I know that that's going to be problematic, so I'm not entirely sure that this is going to be a quick build. But having looked at the photographs of the kit built up on the box, I can see that
that it is possible. I'm sure that these photos, you know, haven't been retouched or anything like that, but I know that this area around here is problematic. I know that this area around the tail and the fin is also a problem area, and also where the wings, these shoulder mounted wings, where they fit against the fuselage here, you can see there's a seam line on the built up model on the box. But I know that that's an issue as well. But having built the 6th Century series jets and seen how they go together, and learning from the process of putting those models together and getting them as neat as tidy, especially the F-106 Delta Dart, which was an absolute pig to put together. I'm pretty confident that this thing will be okay. I think it'll go together well. So there it is. It's a very simple model kit of this airplane, which I'm looking forward to putting together.
So there we go. That's my quick look at the ancient Monogram B-26 Marauder. I really hope you've enjoyed seeing this little trip down memory lane. Hopefully over the next month or so I can put this thing together. I'm certainly planning to do some work on it over the next few weeks, so we'll see how it goes together, and if I do that, I'll obviously put some photographs on my various social media pages, and also on my Kitbox website as well. So please, if you haven't checked that out yet, please do check that out. There's a whole load of stuff on there, a load of nonsense that you can read, a load of rubbish that you can sort of wade your way through. So if you want to do that, please do. And yeah, and also I've got my Facebook page as you, I'm sure, are all well aware of by now. I'll put the links kind of in the sort of the captions below. Also, if you like this site, please think about subscribing. I am trying to get as many videos on here as I can, so click a like, it'll certainly help me out. Drop a comment if you want to do that as well, that'd be brilliant. And you know, and please subscribe, that'd be superb as well. The more the merrier. So hopefully I'll have something more for you shortly, but in the meantime, thanks very much for watching this. Thanks very much for paying attention to my very old Monogram B-26 Marauder, and I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Please take care of yourselves. I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye.